Good evening, everybody. I am sitting here with my book, The Successful Student's Guide to the Galaxy, Navigating the Academic Universe with Confidence and Purpose. And Superboy there is ready to read. We're going to do a reading from this. For some reason, people want to hear me read the book. And it's a little ASMR, but I'll do that at the end. So the videos might be a little long. We'll do the action bits and the more important giveaway things and the freebies first. My name is Lourens Breytenbach. Welcome to the channel, and thank you for joining me. We are talking about studying. We are talking about study methods. I've got the big coffee. You need the big coffee. And we are going to look at what you can find in the description is a really nice gift today, and I'm going to have a look at it quickly. I've been giving it to my matrics at school, and I've been sharing it with my facilitator, and I've been giving it to the lady that does the aptitude tests at the school, and everybody's enjoying it. It's called the Smart Study System, and this is not new. It is basically a highlights package of the end of my book, and it's a list of a whole lot of things. The first bit are the 29 really bad habits I should stop right now if I want to do well in my next exams, and what I should do instead. So this is a big deal, and I'm going to go through a few of them. You can download it for free. It's just a PDF. And what it does, if you click on it, it opens my website and you can go and download a whole bunch of stuff. But in the end, after the process, let me show you. There's the website. It's redirecting. And here's my website. There's my pretty face. Okay. We'll delete the cough later. And then we go through the system. We've talked about Clock Monster. I've worked very hard on this, and Replit Agent has worked really hard on this. So if you want to get a program to study, a plan for studying, getting yourself sorted, and making that procrastination devil go away. What did Ellen DeGeneres say? Don't put it off till later. Procrastinate now. I thought it was very funny. That's when she was funny too. Okay, but here we are. 29 really bad habits. Now, this is all about, I'm not talking about smoking or things like that, and lying to your parents and things like that. We are talking about, for example, bad habit, passively rereading textbooks and highlighting notes. Sorry. Learners, parents, teachers. We cannot sit and read the notes. We are not reading the You magazine. We are not scanning through an encyclopedia. Studying is an activity that you must be actively involved in. And I've got a slideshow that I'll also share that was made by Notebook LM, where it's actually it's devastatingly big numbers. They say you must study for 30 minutes. 30% of your time, and then 70%, 70, not 17, 70% should be testing yourself. So in other words, active recall means you're not sitting reading and just summarizing. Summarizing is great. You have to summarize, go for it. But it's actually, if you think about it, the testing. And I want to read this. It says, passively rereading textbooks and highlighting notes. What to do instead? Well, use active recall. Learners, if you don't know what active recall is, let's find out. Your brain mistakes visual familiarity for true memory. So you must deliberately force your brain to pull information from memory without looking at your notes. Okay, can I summarize that for you in one sentence? You have to test yourself by asking yourself, what have you learned? You say, okay, explain What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis, damn it, I can't remember. Go back to the notes. Say, okay, let me see. Okay, all right, there we go. It is when you use sunlight and the sun is shining on the plant and it creates energy, takes the energy, creates starch or sugar and so on. I can't remember anymore. But you get the idea. Active recall, learners, you have to almost be busy, being urgent about it. There's no sitting and just blowing through the notes, although I'll be doing that later with my book. Look at this one. Bad habit, cramming the night before. Do I have to explain this? No. Practice spaced repetition. It's actually a very powerful principle where I think you lose 30% of what you've learned by cramming, like immediately within an hour. I can't, don't quote me on this, but it says you have to review gradually. And then we'll talk about sleep just now. Here's another one. Grinding through long marathon study session. This is a bad habit, learners. What must you do instead? Master the Pomodoro technique. You have to learn this technique. Pomodoro is the name they called the shifts of 25 minutes that they made people work in, I think it was South America. I'll correct that in a little subscript. But they figured out if they work for 25 and they let them sit and breathe for 5 minutes, then they don't die. Now, if you go back to Africa, where they built the railways in the northern part of Africa, they didn't let those poor people take a break at all. And they died within a day sometimes, within a week at most, if they're strong. They didn't feed them, they didn't give them water. But in the southern part of the world, they actually realized that if you take 25 minutes out of the person, you give them 5 minutes to rest, they last much longer, which is still cruel. But the Pomodoro technique is basically 25 minutes intense burst, pure focus, followed by a mandatory 5-minute break. And then the break, I recommend you stand up, you go and play with the dog outside, or you quickly have a snack, make some coffee, and come back, and then you continue. All right. Let's scroll down. Keeping your phone on the desk when studying. The phone. Okay. Let's just get rid of the phone when we're studying. I can't quote the numbers now. I should have been more prepared, but parents, teachers, learners, it is massive percentages of work not going into the brain because of the phone. You're watching the phone, you cannot focus. Okay, it says mandate the external device rule by placing your phone face down in another room entirely. Give it to mom, put it on her bed, study for an hour, study for 2 hours using those techniques, take short breaks, and then if you have to check whether somebody responded to your little post on the TikToker, then you can do it. You can do it. It's fine. Go check the TikTok and then come back TikTok to study. All right. Okay. This is one of my favorites. Well, least favorites. Studying one subject. This is a bad habit. Studying one subject or problem type entirely before moving on. Instead, use interleaving by mixing different subjects. Now, you might think, yeah, but I'll get mixed up. No, you won't. Your brain has the ability. Think about when you're watching your series on Netflix or on TV or on YouTube. You're watching my videos, ne? On YouTube, and you're liking it also. Subscribing. Thank you. You can watch one episode of one series and then watch another and enjoy both and enjoy the whole story of both. You can. So why not with studying? Study a little bit of maths, do some algebra, work out those geometry theorems, and then switch over to geography. Do a little bit of map work or history or whatever, something that you can just memorize. So there you go. Okay, there's 29 of these viewers. I'm not going to read all of them. Let's see, what's this one? Oh, yes. Lucky number 13, bad habit, memorizing complex technical jargon to sound smart. What to do instead? Use the Feynman technique. Now, if you still don't know what the Feynman technique is, please take the time to switch your phone off and go on YouTube and go and after this video, finish watching this first, go and look up the Feynman technique. And it is basically a technique where you explain something to someone like you're teaching a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old even. Okay, so for example, and I'm going to make something up now. Let's say you have to explain photosynthesis again. Okay, we're using it as an example. You're not going to go into all the chemical names and the chlorophyll and everything. You're going to say the green stuff inside the leaf changes the sunlight and the light and the heat from the sun, and it changes it to food, and it makes the plant grow. Now you've explained the whole concept. So then afterwards, what does it help you if you know all the jargon? And if you don't know what jargon is, remember, it's a term that's only used in a specific subject. Like, for example, with cricket, you use the third man or the wickets or the overs and things like that. It's only words that you use when you watch cricket. So the jargon is not that important. Remember, when you're studying, you're making meaning. You're showing that you have understanding. Shall we do one or two more? We're halfway through. Here's one. Reading the correct answer after a mistake and assuming it was just a silly mistake. No. Treat every incorrect answer as a genuine knowledge gap and say to yourself, okay, I have to relearn that from scratch. Don't dismiss mistakes, because what happens in the test? You're in the test, you make the mistake, now afterwards you're angry with yourself. So when you're studying, you make the mistakes. Make those mistakes when you're practicing. It's like making YouTube videos, except I don't stop and edit too much. Right, let's see. This is a really, really well put together piece of work. I did not do all the writing. I used a very, very clever person's help, and the person's name is Claudie Wardy. Claudie Wardy helped me do this, and Chatty. So we have to put all of these things together. Look at this one again. Pulling all-nighters, sacrificing sleep. There's nothing worse that you can do. It is the worst, absolute worst thing you can do is to cram before the night before you study, and the night before you write. So please don't do that. Okay, let's see what the last ones look like. Bad habit, aimlessly reading textbook chapters from start to finish. We've covered that. Pushing through study sessions. I think we've made our point here. And yeah, let's not sit and eat while we are drinking coffee and everything. We want to be focusing on the work. When you take your break, that's when you have that snack. And it says here what to do instead. Snack on smart brain foods like walnuts, grapes, apples, and so on, edamame, so that you get that. And even dark chocolate's one of my favorites there, so that you can not spike your blood sugar. All right. And then when you go and download your smart study system, parents and learners, it's free. There's no catch. Okay, there's no catch. Just go to lourensbreytenbach.com and you'll find it there. You'll have to sign up. There's a form to fill in. I'm doing a bit of research, and I'd love for you to tell me what your problems are, your pain points, because I need to focus my work, my research, and the writing on your issues. No, there's no point in me creating a 100-page ebook if it's not going to help you. Right, and then this is now a bit of a surprise. I didn't plan on doing this, but here we go. And the kids, you're going to love this. Watch this one. What are the no-nos and the yes-yeses for the parents? The parents need to support the learners when they're studying. So can we do a few of these? Let's see. Let's start with the positive ones. What parents should do. Now, parents, okay, how am I going to put this nicely now? I'm going to just say it. Please stop checking on your child. And they're going, you see, ja, jy sien, meneer het gepraat. Please, we cannot be constantly checking. Are you studying? 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 No. Trust your learner. Let them be. Yes, keep the door open. Keep the door open. Because otherwise the temptation to take a nap or to now be on the phone or whatever, and those earphones must come out. Don't tell me you're studying with music in your ears, please. That's nonsense. There's a few people, very few exceptions, that can really, really focus. But they probably don't need to study anyway because they've got like half photographic memory. So my experience is when I'm busy writing a chapter or reworking what the AIs have given me in research, I don't even have the TV on. I can't listen, and I can't multitask. And it's not just because I'm a man. Ladies? Okay, let's see. It says, do praise effort and strategy, not just the final grade. Focus on your teen's persistence, problem solving, and the specific study methods they are using rather than solely their outcomes. So the grade point average is not the end of the world in our world. It's about that. How are you studying? Instead of saying, did you study? Okay, let's skip down a bit. You want to do a calm and a predictable environment. We cannot have the siblings running around, especially with our matrics now, as they start preparing for the end of the year. I think they've got 15 or 20 school days left for the year. If you take all the exams out, I might be wrong, but it's not many, parents. Matric is almost over. We have to finish the syllabus by end of June. So when we write our exam now, next week we start at my school, while the juniors are going on with school in my school, the matrics and the grade 10s and 11s are writing already. So yeah, it's time. Let's calm down the kids. Let's just get into that routine and study, leave them to be nice and calm. And we've talked about anxiety before. And when I read chapter 2 just now from the book, then you'll see we cannot be anxious. Anxiety kills studying. The moment that cortisol is released, it's game over. Right? Encourage healthy boundaries and self-care. You want to get that 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Now, it sounds like a lot. Who gets 10 hours? Oh, my God. I wish I haven't had 10 hours of sleep in a week. I think I've had 10 hours collectively. And then we want the kids now. Remember, they're still growing. And even if they're big, even if they're tall and grown, all grown up, you want to let them sleep for at least 8 hours. So you need to start switching the lights off in the room at 9. 10 o'clock, it must be lights out, and there's no phone. Parents, please, if you just take one thing from this video, please, 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 4 Jesus, 5, please, 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 take the phone overnight. They don't need it. They do not need to be on their phone, and let them throw a tantrum. It's your phone. You registered it. I think when I wrote the last chapter of the bit of work I'm doing right now, I think the main pain point of parents is loss of control over the phone, loss of control over the child's phone, and you bought it for them. And it's usually because there were no rules made. I don't have children, and I have a lot of sympathy because I deal with a lot of kids at school. But parents, you need to make those rules. You cannot let the child just have the phone and then it's happy, happy, happy. There must be very strict rules, and they must help make those rules. Okay, enough preaching for that one. Now, here's the no-nos. And kids, you're going to love this. Do not mistake calmness for carelessness. You see, calmness can be a very productive thing. If you're relaxed and you're focused, then you absorb. Now, my biggest challenge in classes right now is to get the kids to keep quiet for some reason. They have got like verbal diarrhea where it just keeps coming out. And we can't get the kids to be quiet. Now, that's unacceptable. It's going to be unacceptable until I retire. And long after that, and long after I'm gone, and into the next century, if the world still exists, it will never be acceptable to talk over a teacher. I'm not getting on that soapbox. It's a tired old box. Okay. Don't conduct late night interrogations. Do I have to explain that? Please, guys, let's not fight late at night with our kids. We are all tired after a long day. We are not going to have a conflict now. And also, don't leave it hanging like, oh, we'll talk tomorrow. Just make peace and say, okay, let's leave it now. We're not going to have a fight. You go, you study for another session. I'm going to leave you alone. I'm sorry. Let me get out of your hair. And then you leave them, and I bet you that most of the kids will respond and say, okay, it's not worth fighting with you. But let's not all get upset the whole time. So study harder is out. We're not going to study harder. We're going to study smarter. That's why it's called the SMART study system. Don't tell your kids, you must focus. It's like saying you must breathe. It's not whether you're going to focus or whether you're going to breathe. It's how. How deeply do you breathe, if you want to use that analogy? Okay, I hope that makes sense. And then let's not compare now. We do it consciously and unconsciously. I see a lot of kids, especially the older ones, the first kids are the ones that, shall I say, get the harshest criticism, and then the second baby can do no wrong. Yes, I'm not going to comment on that now because I'm opening a can of worms. I'll tell you a story or two. When my oldest brother, we are three, so it's me, I'm the youngest. I got the looks. Okay. My brother Kobus, he's got the brains, but he's also got the looks, which is not fair. But it's the truth. And then my oldest brother, Nardes, he passed away 3 years ago. I still miss him. Nardes was the oldest. He's 7 years older than me. And this is now how quickly things changed in the 80s. Now, when my brother was living with his girlfriend, my mom and dad were like, phone the Reverend bel die dominee. Die ouderling moet kom. It's the end of the world. They are going to go to hell. They are living in sin. 4 years later, when my brother Kobus wanted to move in to a flat with a friend, a girlfriend, then my mom was like, they found the nicest place. It's such a wonderful spot that they've got. And then when I didn't want to live with anyone, they said, can you just find a girlfriend? Okay, let's stop there. Okay. And the same thing happened with the whole idea of living in a commune. Now, these days, living in a commune is nothing. It's the most economical, common sense thing to do. When my brother Nardus went into a commune for the first time, it was, Belly Dominee, phone the Reverend. It's the end. They're going to hell. Is living in sin, is drugs. Help, Dominee. And no. Then when my brother moved in to a commune, they found the best spot. It is so comfortable. They all fit into the house. And then when I was like last one to say, why aren't you living in a commune? What's wrong with you? So in 7 years, from complete sin and disaster to complete acceptance, that's how quickly things change in this world. Okay, so no nagging, parents. Here we go, back to the script. No nagging or micromanaging. Try to control their schedule. They need to make their own mind up. Let them decide when they want to study. They will. They are young adults. Let them say, okay, I'll study this time and that time and that time. Let them decide and use my clockmonster.com app, please. It is a beautiful piece of work, and I'm astonished. I'm not going to show it to you now, but it's part of this package. There we go. There's my, right on cue, my clock monster. And he's not the monster. Here's the monster, the green one. Okay. And I'd love for you to get this and to go and work out that study plan. Okay. Now, this is formally the end of the video. I'm going to now switch, and I'm going to read the chapter from our book. It's called Why Trying Harder Makes Things Worse. And I'm just going to read it for you while it's on the screen. And then we'll end off by listening to a podcast from Notebook LM that discusses this document. Why trying harder makes things worse. There's a moment many learners recognize instantly, even if they have never put words to it. You sit down to study. You know you should be working. You want to do well. But instead of clarity, a strange heaviness settles in your chest. Your thoughts feel scattered. You reread the same paragraph 3 times and realize none of it stuck. Time passes, but nothing seems to move forward. So, you do what you've been taught to do. You try harder. You push yourself to sit longer. You tell yourself to focus. You stay up later. You sacrifice sleep, breaks, and anything that looks like rest. From the outside, it looks like discipline. From the inside, it feels like drowning more quietly. This is the cruel paradox of panic-driven studying. The more effort you apply, the worse your results become. The brain that won't cooperate. When stress levels rise, the brain changes how it operates. It narrows its focus, shifts attention toward perceived threats, and reduces access to the very systems required for deep thinking. Memory becomes unreliable. Reasoning weakens. Organization falls apart. This is not a moral fatigue. This is not a moral failure. It is biology. Trying harder in this state is like pressing the accelerator while the handbrake is still on. You can hear the engine working, but you're not anywhere. And the strain only increases. The 4-hour study trap. I once worked with a learner who described his study routine like this. I sit at my desk for 4 hours every afternoon, but after the first hour, I'm not really there anymore. I just keep going because stopping feels like giving up. His marks did not improve. His anxiety did. What he needed was not more time at the desk. He needed permission to stop fighting his own nervous system. This is why so many capable learners feel confused by their own experience. They are doing everything right according to the advice they've been given, yet their marks stagnate or decline. Eventually, frustration turns inward. They conclude that they lack discipline, motivation, or intelligence. None of those conclusions are true. What is actually happening is that effort is being applied at the wrong moment, in the wrong way, to a system that is temporarily locked. Productive struggle versus overwhelming strain. One of the most damaging myths in education is that struggle always means growth. In reality, there is a crucial difference between productive struggle and overwhelming strain. Productive struggle happens when the brain is challenged but stable. It involves uncertainty, effort, and occasional frustration, but within a system that is fundamentally calm enough to function. Overwhelming strain happens when the brain is threatened, rushed, or exhausted. It involves the same uncertainty and frustration, but within a system that has already exceeded its capacity. Learning does not happen here. Survival does.